Speaking of Happy presents Frankly Speaking. With co-hosts Eli Rigatuso, founder and queer transmasculine two-spirit of the Menominee Nation, and the lovely Avalisa Ellicott, model, public speaker, makeup fanatic, and outspoken transgender advocate. Together, we are Frankly Speaking.
Yeah, baby! That's right. Can you hear me? Am I on? Is this thing on? You can hear me okay?
Now I can't hear you.
What in the ever-loving? Let's see here. Let's make sure my microphone is on the right. Yeah, it's there. I'm on the right channel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Holla, gonna make you holla. Gonna da, da, da. You could hear the music though before that was playing. You're muted. I'm unmuting and muting, unmuting. I'm not mute. But that I'm gonna move. Can you hear me now? What in the heck? Well, shoot. Let me make a sounder. Can you hear that? Avalisa has disappeared on me. She says she's going to be right back. She's going to be right back. So she's logging off. Can y'all out there in Facebook landia hear me? Can you hear me backstage? Oh, I'm getting thumbs up from our gorgeous guest this evening. You got to watch out for the gorgeous guest this evening. Oh, for those of you who tuned in last week, all three of you, I hope you're back tonight because we are doing a giveaway. We're giving away 2 tickets to the special screening of a documentary that was created by a local trans artist. She has been working on this documentary for a little while, for a bit of a jump now, and we are having a special screening this coming Saturday night here in Omaha, Nebraska. For those of you who are in Omaha, we would love for all of y'all to come and join in the fun. But tonight, for anybody who joins in, we're going to toss your name in the hat. I see you, Riley. Thank you so much for being here. Riley says, I can hear you. So, Avalisa, what's your problem? I'm bringing you back up, sis.
For some reason, you decided to mute. Not sure why, not sure how, not sure for what reason, but like you saw me fiddle with things. And then finally I was like, let me just turn the volume up. And then I could hear everything. I was like, this is so stupid.
Well, you know what? It's par for the course for what you said your day has been.
My day has been ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I don't appreciate any of it. I'm going to float ahead just a bit, or disembodied voice just a bit as I was halfway in, halfway out of cooking.
Did you hear my sounder for you?
Huh?
Did you hear the sounder I just played for you?
I did. It was a little quiet.
Oh, okay. So I had to turn it up a little bit so you can hear it. Well, I am super excited. We have a returning guest. We started a conversation with her last week, part 1 of our conversation, and she graciously agreed to come back on tonight to talk about the telling of our stories, which is a documentary that she's been hard at work on. Her name is Aliana Viviana, and I'm going to bring her on. Hey, girl.
Hi. How are you?
Awesome sauce. I'm doing well. I've been working on a special beading project and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
That's
Yeah.
good. I'm so happy to hear. How about you, love?
I am having one of those days. It's it's been a wild one, full of ups and downs. Finally got a task completed that I have been pushing off for a very, very long time. Only because somebody called me and they were like, "Hey, have you done this yet?" And I was like, "I'm going to do it today." So I finally got it completed. So that was super good. And then I'm a veteran, a proud veteran. I found out that the VA pays for laser hair removal, which is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, when my doctor put in the referral to get laser hair removal, it's for dermatology. The procedure is laser hair removal, and the diagnosis is transsexualism. So many providers refused to service me. They refused to fulfill the referral, and so it was this very long process of them struggling to find somebody that would willingly do it. They finally did find somebody about an hour and a half away from where I live. So that's a 3-hour drive just to go get laser. And so when they finally called me to set up the appointment, I was like, "Hey, do you have any locations closer?" And they were like, "Yeah, we got one that's 20 minutes from your house." And I was like, "Oh, perfect. Can we switch me over to that one? Is there any problem with that?" And they were like, "As long as you do your consultation there, everything will be fine." And I was like, "Perfect. The appointment is tomorrow at 9:30." And so I got a call from them today, and I was busy doing some work stuff. And they left a message saying, "Are you still coming to your appointment, or are you going to the one in Frisco?" And so I called and I was like, "Yes, I'm coming to the one that's 20 minutes from my house." That makes sense. I don't see why I would not. To which she replied, "Oh, well, if you come to the location that's right up the street from your house, it's going to be out of pocket. And that's going to be $150. And I was like, "Excuse me." And she was like, "Yeah, the referral that they wrote for you is specifically for that doctor in Frisco."
Oh, jeez. Ugh.
So, yeah.
I mean,
Spent a great deal of my day trying to work that out.
Living
So
that
do you
trans.
have to drive that hour and a half?
Huh?
Do you have to drive that hour and a half, or are you going to be able to go to the one that's closer?
I'm not going to be able to go to my appointment tomorrow. What happened is I had to reach out to the insurance company, and the insurance company is having to write another referral with this doctor's name. And it takes time for them to do that. And so my appointment is pushed off, and it's just the consultation. And I stopped going to the laser place that I was going to so that I could switch over to the free option. So I'm in between, I'm past due. And now I'm waiting for that letter to be kicked out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is for those folks who are tuning in. I mean, this is kind of what, frankly speaking, was built on as in regard to just all of the hurdles and extra jumps that we have to do. And I mean, I know that, healthcare for our cis counterparts, there are things that they have to jump through too. I don't want to say that it's just, in regard to us, but I mean, it's even more so when you add on the layers. Like, Avalisa, you don't really necessarily live in one of the most trans-friendly areas in the U.S. right now. And so on top of that, it's like, sure, you might have your health insurance say, "Oh, yeah, no worries, we'll cover it. You're covered." But then trying to find someone, as you just illustrated, who's actually willing to do it for you as a Black trans woman is a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, they saw that transsexualism and they were like, "No, ma'am." But the healthcare system in this country is fucked. This country is fucked. The fact that people are using trans people as a political football, as a political thing.
I forgot to say
Are we on
tonight we got to be
LinkedIn?
careful. Yeah, we on LinkedIn. So you got to say
Oh,
we
I'm
effed.
sorry. Sorry.
We
Hey,
effed.
LinkedIn.
Oh, hi, LinkedIn. LinkedIn don't like the F bombs. Sorry. Sorry
Yeah,
about it.
I
Sorry about it.
I didn't know.
Anyway, that's just a
But
warning
yes,
to you.
you know, it's not a
Mhm.
friendly place for us. And seeing John Oliver's segment on Sunday kind of knocked me off my feet. He did an entire segment dedicated to trans rights. It was 30 minutes of him dragging this entire country and everyone that lives in it. And I
I gotta,
appreciated every minute of it.
yeah, I need to tune into that. Somebody was telling me about it. And so I do definitely want to check it out. Check
Yeah, it
it
was
out.
very, very good. But it just illustrated how disgusting this country is in regards to trans people and the way that we're treated and the way that we are politicized. The fact that my transition is politicized is disgusting. You shouldn't be saying I'm a Republican and I hate trans people because I'm a Republican. No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You're a bigot.
Yeah. 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 I mean, so Alana, you can probably interject here with a little bit. We're going to show a little trailer here in a second that Alana put together. But, you can probably give us a little bit of insight into your film, your documentary around what some of the folks had to say that you interviewed. Like, I'm sure this is not uncommon what Avalisa was sharing.
It's not. I know ooh.
We're here.
Oh, I was
I
like,
just wanted to bring I just wanted to bring you up full screen so that since Avalisa kind of stepped away for a second and you're on your phone with your angle the other way. So I thought I'd just solo you. So we could see your beautiful face. So tell us.
So, basically, how the interviewing process went for majority of the girls, because again, they are entertainers as well, so they were really booked, and it was really hard to get my schedule to match up with theirs, so we can do filming and stuff like that. So, majority of the girls, we did have them. We sent out a list, introduction, and all these questions, and we had all the girls answer them and send their email me their videos, and I just pieced them together
Hmm.
and made the film out of it.
Oh, well, very cool. But I mean, did you touch on? I'm sure you touched on some of the healthcare
Most
things.
definitely. When I feel like the main part that we touched on something like that is when I asked about like surgeries and stuff like that and how they feel about it, because within the trans community, surgeries are big. Some people love to get them, and some people hate that trans
Yeah.
women get them. It's just a big fiasco when it comes to surgeries, and then especially whenever it comes to not being able to get it covered. There was a recent Black trans woman who had went, and she went through her whole process, and her doctor said that her insurance covered everything and she was perfectly fine. And then the day she went in for her consultation, they were like, your insurance isn't covering it and you need to pay for everything. So it's hectic. It's
It
like,
is.
it's one of those things where you don't know what to say or do. It's like, it's really frustrating because you're just trying to live, and you're just trying to have your rights and live your life, and it's like all these people keep fighting against it, and it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it is just unbelievable the many different things that, over the past, gosh, I mean, I came out in 2015, had my first surgery, and at this point, my only surgery. I don't intend to do anything else, gender affirming wise. But I had my first surgery in December of that same year. Started hormones in August of that year, August, September. So I was kind of on the fast track. And, but I had to jump through a lot of hoops. Like my surgery, I had to pay fully out of pocket for. And although I tried to do some fundraising around it, like GoFundMe's and those kinds of things were not as prevalent as they are today. And so I was, I set up, I was going to do my own little photo art opening thing. So I printed a bunch of my own photos and had some printed on canvas prints and did this whole layout and invited a bunch of people. And like, I want to say like 70 some odd people said that they would be there. And unfortunately, only 12 people showed up. And I mean, I'm grateful that they did. Those folks that did show up, I'm really grateful that they did, but I really just broke even. So it was like I made enough money to cover the expenses for putting on that show, which, was kind of disappointing, but I paid for my gender affirming top surgery out of my own pocket. So
I think that's just so crazy, especially when you look at it like through different stories. Like that's what I think I love about it is you can see like how long people have been transitioning for. You can see when they started, they like all different things like that. Like it's different for everyone. Everyone decides to transition at a certain time. Sometimes people aren't allowed to transition until they get to a certain age, and it's crazy when you look at all these stories and you see the difference between someone who transitioned at 28 and someone who transitioned at 17, and you see like the difference and in their stories and everything. I was lucky enough that whenever I went to go get my name changed and my gender markers changed, like I was in Virginia at the time, and in Virginia you don't have to I think it's $44 for your name change, and your gender markers is free, which in Omaha, I believe my father said he paid almost $200 for it.
Well, the name change, if you go through a lawyer, can be pricey. Okay. So Avalisa said she was going to add something here. I thought you meant let you know when you can actually come sit down and come back with
No, I'm cooking, and so like there's fire on, so I'm running in and out.
Gotcha.
But surgery, I think that there's a very bad misconception when it comes to surgery. People think that gender affirming surgeries are like, you know what, I'm gonna go get some done today. I'm just gonna go do it.
Like it's so
and
easy.
I think that the flippancy of the ability to get surgery kind of takes away the seriousness of it for them. Yes, people can go get a breast augmentation. Yes, people can go get chest masculinization. Yes, people can go get all of these different things. However, there is a history, a medical history that needs to be present. There is so many hoops and hurdles and all of this other stuff to get to the point to where you're even allowed to have the surgery. Let's not talk about the price of the surgery and the unrealistic costs of these surgeries, and the fact that most people will never make enough to see themselves the way that they want to, because it is unrealistically expensive. And I think that the stigma against surgery, and all of these people talking about kids going in and getting surgery, and it's like,
I feel like surgery is a big thing. Like, I feel like it's two different perspectives. Like outside of the trans community, it is a lot of that. And I feel like within the community, I feel like it's directly where you're at, because I've been to Texas, Virginia, and Omaha, and the trans community in each one of those places is completely different. But I will say, like, especially in like the Virginia scene, like I seen really heavy on surgeries and like other older trans women trying to push it on younger trans women, and like, I feel like it's okay to share your stories with a younger trans person, but when you're trying to shove surgeries down their throat because you got them, like, I don't know, it's just.
Oh, I don't disagree. I mean, I think that what happens is that we don't allow there. It seems like there are certain folks who are willing to talk about their surgeries and share, and so that people can make an informed decision. And I think that's the biggest difference, being able to make an informed decision, but not everybody. I mean, anybody that's reached out to me, I've happily provided them with resources, shared my own experience, I talk very openly about my transition journey. And I think that what ends up happening, and what Avalisa was kind of getting to, is that outside of the community, people think that it's so easy for us to have these things happen. And then there's so many common problems now with people who are actually spreading lies about things, like people who are spreading lies about young people getting these surgeries. Well, guess what? They're not. They're not getting those surgeries until the age of consent. There's mixed reviews around whether or not hormone suppressors actually do irreversible damage. And there are people even in the trans community now who have a whole platform, and they're sharing about how they feel that there's all these lies, and there's trans activists who are trying to squelch their voices by saying, hey, these surgeries are reversible. It's like, the bottom line is, anytime you're doing something to your health, anytime you're doing something to your physical body, you have to take all kinds of things into consideration. I stopped taking tea after being on it for, gosh, I want to say almost 3 years. 4 years.
And I will say,
I started, I was like going on lower doses, spreading it out, and doing every couple of weeks. And again, with my doctor's supervision. And I just got to the point in 2020, after I got sick with COVID, I wasn't on tea for probably a good 2, almost 3 months as I was recovering. And I started to realize that some of the things that were happening weren't happening. And it had nothing to do with all of the misconceptions about tea and people thinking, oh, everybody gets angry on tea. And I'm like, no, I'm still pretty much a, cuddle bug, and still pretty, I mean, I have anger issues sometimes, but they don't have anything to do with being on or off testosterone. So it's like, I think the problem is that both inside and outside of the community, there is not enough effort around education and being informed, period. If you do not know, then don't be going around spouting off what you think you know about people who are trans and getting surgeries. Now, if you're trans and you're sharing your own personal experience, more power to you. But remember that we are a spectrum of people from all walks of life who get to make choices. So I agree with you, Alana, when people are saying, oh, you should do this and you should do that. It's like, no, don't force this stuff on other people. Have conversations with them, absolutely, but don't force your shit on them. Excuse my 4-letter word.
I did want to say something to Alana's point. I think that there is a disconnect about how to be trans, and a disconnect between gender affirming surgery and how that is individual to every person. And I know that there is gatekeeping specifically within the trans woman, trans female, trans feminine lane of things, because, for the longest time, fitting in, not being stealth, but like, for lack of a better word, passing, being cis assumed was safety. There was no stepping outside of that. If there was something that could clock you, you needed to fix it, because you're going to get killed. One sec.
So Alana, tell me a little bit about, does the documentary cover any of that aspect of it in regard to like how the community treats you as trans women?
There are some questions in there. Like, I know there are some questions about, have you ever thought about surgeries? Have you ever thought about, hormone therapy, like were you on hormones, like and stuff like that. I really love this little film that I have put together because it answers a lot of different questions. And I am not gonna lie, for a good minute I was thinking about not putting the bad in, but I kind of wanted to put that in there because people need to know that it is a serious thing for us. Like it's scary to think that like if I don't go dressed a certain way to Walmart, that I might get clocked by Karen who's running the kiosk, and then she's not going to want me to get my groceries.
Or you might get clocked by somebody who will do far worse than deny you of groceries. I mean, they may deny you of breathing. I mean, it's
so crazy, and I don't think people understand that at all. And going back to the whole like thing, I always say everyone's transition is different. Just because at 2 months I started getting my breast started growing doesn't mean it's going to happen for you. You have to take in genetics, you have to take in all these different aspects of what your transition is going to look like, because just because Miss Ma'ams over here grew boobs with under 3 months and she got a D doesn't mean that's going to happen to you, because you have to look at your genetics, what your family looks like, and all different issues like that before you even think about being on hormones. Because a lot of people be like, oh, hormones is going to help me like get my boobs up there, and that's just how it is. Like, it's not that easy for a lot of people. Like, I've been going on hormones for about almost 2 years now, and I will say like it was like a big peak. Like mine was different. I shot up, and within a month I seen a difference, and then in the past like 8 months it's just been steady. It's just, and I feel like it's different from everyone because your peak may not be until later on, and you never know. It's just different things that you have to take to aspect.
Yeah, I had puffy nipples for a hot minute and I was like, it's gonna pop. And then I had the cone for ever. And I was like, this ain't it. And that's what I was talking about. Everybody's transition looking different. For me, I wanted to scream femininity. I wanted curves. I wanted body. I wanted to serve it down every time I walked down the street. And so I got my boobs done. I got my hips done. I got body done, babe, because that's what I felt comfortable with. And had I not received that, naturally, had I been born cis, like, babe, I would have been eating cornbread. I would have been in the gym. I would have been working on it. But unfortunately, that's not the way that it worked out. And I had this other option. And I think that people think that a lot of these surgeries that we get are simply for vanity, because so many of them are attached to vanity when it's put on the cis side of things. If somebody is walking around looking like a brick, like full on SpongeBob SquarePants, that could be a reason for them to be thrown into dysphoria day and night to the point to where they do not want to be here. And so them going to go get a BBL, like, that makes sense.
And I feel like that's where, yeah, I feel like that's where kind of like, I feel like it's not more common now like it was back in the day, like where if a girl was like being pressured at like a ball, at the club, at just walking down the street by other girls, or even anyone just being pressured about your body looking a certain type of way, and it's I have like a weird obsession with it. Like I watch so many videos about it. It's like back in the day when you couldn't get those big surgeries, there was a lot of people who were going to basements, who were going to do all that and getting who knows what injected into themselves. And I feel like it's so scary. It doesn't happen as often now, but it's still a thing that has to like.
I mean, we had, you know, this big explosion of transness in mainstream media, and with that came a lot of not necessarily societal exception, but more so mainstream, oh, I see you there, I see you doing what you're doing, but that for trans people was like, oh my God. And you had people up here, not a stitch of body, not a stitch of body, and they were so comfortable, and they were so much themselves and so happy. And that kind of got people out of the mindset that I need to look this way, and it made people more comfortable, and it made people want to express how they play with how they express themselves, find what was actually comfortable for them versus a stereotype that they sort of had to fit in, some people want to fit into that. Some people want that to be who they are. And, kudos to them, kudos to us. I was one of the girls. But I think, back in the day, like you at a pool and you not tucked, baby, you were serving bulge at the pool. What? Like, for me, that was a gag. And then I saw all of these pictures of trans girls just at the beach in a bikini, full bulge, and I'm like, oh, you go ahead, come on.
And I feel like now it's getting slowly but surely more accepting for trans women to look different. Like, and I feel like where you go is gonna determine where people say a trans woman should be. Like, when I was in Texas, I didn't really have that many. I had like maybe 2 trans friends. Other than that, like, there was no other trans woman I've ever heard of or seen in Lubbock, Texas. And it was just like, I need that community, but I don't have it. And then when I moved to Virginia, it was very much ballroom community, very much everything. It was like, ma'am, you don't meet that category. It was very much like, I feel like when I got I was Portsmouth, Virginia Beach area.
I grew up in Virginia Beach. Like, all of the places that you named off, I have been and I have experienced queer culture in all of these areas. And so I was like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I feel like whenever I got really into ballroom, when I first got there, it was really an eye opener because when I lived in Texas, I always dreamed about moving out of Texas and doing all the big things. And when I did move out of Texas, and I did see that real big shift change from having 2 people I know that were trans to, girl, you see a trans woman on the corner of there's so many of us. Like, you go to these resource centers and there's like 40 trans women there, and you're like, where was this the entire time I needed it? Like, and I'm just
hiding
so grateful
from you. It's hateful. It was hiding from you. I never saw a trans person growing up, and I remember being at a club in Virginia Beach and meeting my first trans person, and I was like, oh my God, I can do it. I can do it.
And I love it. I love it because it was an eye opener, because I don't have the biggest boobs. My body is very much smaller curves and everything. And when I first got there, everyone was just enjoying themselves. And I love that about Virginia. Whether you're at a ball or the club, it's majority of, girl, we don't care what you look like. Of course, there's always going to be someone who has something to say, but I've never experienced a community of, girl, we don't care what you look like, as long as you here, you not bothering nobody, and you having a good time. That's all that matters. Like, I really, really do appreciate that part of my life, because it turned me into the woman I am today, and I can appreciate more things now because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how did you, when you were thinking about doing this? Well, first of all, I'm gathering from this conversation with you that you decided to do this so that other people wouldn't have to experience what you experienced and not being able to see people that they could relate to. So I think that's beautiful. But when you sat down and really started thinking about what you wanted to ask and why, can you kind of walk through us a little bit on some of the questions that you asked folks?
So when I first thought of telling of our stories, it was going to be a 15-minute trailer. That's all it was going to be. It was because that's all the budget called for. That's all it was going to be. I was going to have 2 girls, and then me. It was only going to be 3 of us. And then cash jumped up and then it jumped down and then it was just crazy. But originally it was supposed to happen, I believe, June, July of this past year. And when the original idea came, I just wanted to have someone see a trans woman on their screen. That's all my goal was. But as time was going and I was like looking at things, and again, like I said last week, I was preparing a talent for a pageant, and it was about, you know, my transness, my realness, like a part of me that means so much to me. And like I seen a lot of it, and I was like, no, I want people to know it's gonna get personal. Like there's probably gonna be some tears shed. Like it's gonna be a lot. Like we're talking about how you can potentially get beat up, raped, other different things. And it's scary because a lot of people say they know that aspect, and a lot of people don't know that aspect at all of being trans. It's nowadays where there's these TikTokers, these other people who are trans, and they see this social media star and they're like, oh, you know, they have their life made for them. But no, I could potentially get hurt and get killed, get shot, get anything before a cisgender woman any day just because I decided not to wear a bra today. Or, oh, I'm not going to fill in the rest of my eyebrows. I'm only going to have my little half eyebrows done today. And I'm only going to the grocery store. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Boom. I'm not alive no more because I didn't wear eyebrows to the store because someone seen that I was different and that I was living my true life, and they didn't like that. So they took it from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eli and I talk about this very often, and the realities of transness and trans fear of being out in public and knowing that, you know, there is a certain set of things that you need to do just to be safe in public. And, you know, yes, for the people who go out and they're like, I don't care, I'm gonna do this. If I catch smoke, then that's what's gonna happen. Kudos to them. Babe, I see my face every time Trans Day of Remembrance pops up. I understand what that is. I understand the reality of that. And so if it takes me getting this concealer pen and running over this little piece of shadow that you can see, I'm going to do it. If it takes me having some type of shirt where you can very clearly see that I have breasts, I'm going to do it. Because the reality is that it's my life is at danger every time I walk outside of the house. Period.
Like, and I feel like people don't understand that aspect of it. It's like I call it the T-girl check. Every time I leave the house, before I leave, I look at that mirror, and it's sad. It's really sad to say that I have to do this when I go out. I look at that mirror and I'm like, okay, everything's okay. Make sure that's right. Make sure that your breast line or your bra line is visible enough so they can see that you're a girl. Because if you don't have big boobs, you're not a girl and you're considered a boy. And like it was so crazy, especially going out and like the work scene when like you're trying to live a life as a trans woman and working a 9 to 5 is it's just so crazy because it's like, okay, I shouldn't have to do a full face of makeup just to go serve tables, but I have to because I have to make sure that I look like a woman so that any of my drunk customers who come in at 2 a.m. while I'm working the overnight shift doesn't shoot me or stab me.
Yeah.
Because it could be easy as I'm serving a table and a male guest decides that he's going to hit on me. He does so, and then his friends find out I'm trans, and then he has a problem. And mind you, I was just working my regular Wednesday shift, but my life has been taken away from me because of what I am, who I am.
So, you know, do you feel in your place of work now, are you still doing a customer service job? Are you still waiting tables?
Actually, so I switched positions completely. I don't know what got over me. Right now I am doing package handling at UPS. So literally I love it so much because it's a headphone here and I'm in a trailer by myself. No one's messing with me, nothing. And I'm in a profession where it's majority men. So I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of weird because when you're in a profession where it's majority men and you're a trans woman, um, it's crazy because your the feminine side of you gets, you know, showcased more than it normally would. So me grabbing a box and like, ow, I hit my hand. Oh my goodness, I broke a nail. Like that's just like, it's like one of those things where it's like it, in a normal workplace, it would be like, okay, like get over it. But in like that type of workplace, and I don't know how to explain, like when you're in a masculine environment, your femininity shines so much than it normally would.
Oh, I'm
I've
sure.
noticed that. So it's like,
So they're pretty affirming with you and treat you respectfully.
yeah, and I love it so much because it's like I may be a woman, and that's the thing. Don't get asked about me being trans. Like, I'm at a state where technically in the middle of my transition. I got my name changed and my gender markers changed, but I haven't got my social security card changed. So when I go to apply for jobs, I still have to give them my name change document and my social security. So when I did start this job, I totally forgot. I don't know why. Sometimes I forget that I'm trans. I really do. I say this a lot and people look at me crazy, but it's wild living life when you're trans, okay? And I just want people to understand that like there's so many things that run through your head at one moment. Um, but yes, they are all very respectful of me and who I am. It's amazing. I love it so much.
Well, that's nice to hear. I mean, I know that I have other trans friends who are working in environments similar to that, and they're not being treated with a lot of dignity and respect. So I'm happy to hear that that's not the case for you. It's really interesting to me, though. I think that maybe for certain men in certain jobs, it's easier for them to see you and honor you as female when it's a non-traditional job for a
For a
female.
woman. So
Yeah.
it's easier for them to see me as a woman in a job where I'm doing heavy lifting. But if I'm serving tables and doing a womanly like job, it's like, oh no, they're not supposed to be doing that. But if I decide to wear a ponytail and do a full face, but I'm throwing packages on a conveyor belt, it's perfectly fine to be the way that I live. But if I decide to serve tables or do more of a feminine job, oh, what are they doing? Oh, I get critiques. And that's why I love it so much. Like, I don't do anything before I go to work. I love it so much. I don't even do my T-girl check majority. I just throw my hair up. Okay, let's go to work. Boom. Everyone's so respectful about it. I will say when I first like got orientation, I handed them my ID and my social security card. They scanned it. They did everything they were supposed to. They pulled me aside. Everyone was into orientation because it was a group one. They pulled me out and I was like, yes. He goes, you gave me the wrong social security card. I said, what? I looked at it and I was like, no. It's like one of those weird things that when you're in the middle of your transition, it's like, I gotta explain myself. Ugh. And you're scared because you don't know how people can take it because people are still in the state of mind that they can be like, you're what? No, I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna call you by the name on that because I'm gonna call you what's on your social security card. That's
Well,
what we're gonna call you.
I mean, it's ridiculous how people will double down on legal name, but that's your legal name.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
I have to call you that because it's your legal name. And it's like, no, you do not have to call me that. Because the truth of the matter is that my legal name prior to my name change and the name that I went by were actually two different names. And people very easily called me the other name and never questioned that I wanted to be called that and never doubled down and said, oh, but on your card it says this.
Exactly. It's so crazy.
But when I come out as trans and I transition and I do all the things that I'm supposed to do to get my name changed and all my documents in order and my driver's license, my gender marker change, all of that, people just don't get it. I mean, people will call me Ellie before they'll call me Eli.
I don't know why people can so easily call William Bill and not have an issue with it, but when it comes to
I was
somebody
just
else's
about to say
legal
that.
name,
Like, girl,
when it
you
comes to
can
somebody
call.
else's legal name, no, get
Because
it together. Because y'all are calling William Bill. That's not his name. That's not what's on his birth certificate. That's not what's on his social security card. That's not what's on any of his
Exactly.
information.
And I feel like it's just crazy. But yeah, I was lucky enough to where they pulled me aside and like, you know, I didn't have to explain myself. All I said was, hey, I'm a trans woman. I can bring you my name change documents tomorrow if you would like. He was like, okay, I'm gonna get this figured out. You just go in there and, you know, watch the video that we're watching. Okay, work. I go back in. I'm watching whatever. I get pulled out again. I come out and it's him and the boss, like big boss lady, and the demeanor that she gave, it was mind blowing. It was the way when she looked at me, the first time I saw her was she looked at me like, I know this little trans girl isn't trying to get a job over here, but when she opened her mouth, she was all like, we will get everything fixed for you. We'll make sure that everything is by this name and we'll make sure that you're fully set and ready to go for your first day.
Wow.
I was like, work.
Yeah. It's like, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I it's getting a little better out there, but not always that easy, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that a lot of the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that are happening in different companies is making a difference, but I don't necessarily think the difference is enough because there's still so many people who are having to put up with crap.
Most
So,
definitely. I will say, like, bringing it back to the aspect, like, with the film, there's a story that I shared in there that I'm going to share with you. My birthday last year, me and my sister went out because we have the since I was adopted a couple years ago, me and my sister have this thing where we spent our birthday together every year because it's literally my birthday and literally a week later is her birthday. So we always go out the week before my birthday, the week after hers. It's like a crazy fiasco when November and December come around.
yeah.
But we were going out. It was in between the weekend in between our birthdays, and we were going out. We had us a good time. It was 2 a.m. The bars were closing, everything. One of her friends was like, hey, we're going to the after hours if you want to come. So we went. We all had a good time. We get to this person's house. It's like packed. It's crazy. There's a lot of people there. I'm like, oh, girl. We get in. Mind you, me and my sister are very extra when it comes to going out. I'm talking about dress, heels, full face, hair to the ground, everything. So I'm sitting here like heart racing, like, especially that my sister is like here to me and I'm so much taller. It's so scary when we go out together because it's like, girl, someone's gonna clock me because I'm tall, or girl, someone's gonna clock me because my jaw is just do. Oh my goodness, did I make sure I do my makeup good today? Oh my, as soon as we get in here, we're going straight to the restroom to see how we look. Like, it's scary to have to do that, but it's stuff that you have to do when you're in the moment. So everyone's having a good time. I think it's 4 a.m. at this point. My sister's like, me and Garrett, her boyfriend at the time, we're gonna go home. Work. Okay. So they go home. I go with them and I get an Uber from our house because me and my sister were living together at the time. I get an Uber from our house to back to the place that her friends are going because I at the time I was new. Mind you, I didn't know anybody at all. The only person I knew was my sister and her boyfriend at the time. That's all I knew. So there was this one guy at the party, super nice guy. You know, we were chill. Me and him were on the couch together, just talking regular. Mind you, completely regular, how you would talk to anyone. Hello,
Sure.
how are you? Oh, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Yes, it is my birthday weekend. Just normal conversation. So I guess they left that spot and went to a different one. That didn't work out. So they were coming back here. Well, while they were on their way back, I was on my way to the house. It's confusing. They were on the way back to the after spot, so was I. On the way back, one of my sister's friends go, hey, you know the girl that you were, mind you, in a car full of grown men cisgender men that I do not know, goes, hey, you know the girl that you were just talking to is a trans girl, right? Mind you, I didn't know this happened. So this just happened. She just outed me to this entire car of grown men.
Yeah.
And here I come walking in the door, not knowing what's happening. Everyone's staring at me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? Okay, weird. I go back. Me and him start talking. He pulls me aside. He's like, can I talk to you real quick? We go to the restroom. He locks the door. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is where I get my keys and I fight for my life. And heart starts racing. Hey, one of the girls told me that you were trans. Is that true? And it was scary because the way that he was gripping my arm, like he had my arm in a certain manner where it's like, tell me this isn't true. So I hate that I have to deny it, but it was one of those instances where it's like, I could die right now. So it was like, are you for reals? I'm not trans. Like, why would she say that? Like, that is so rude. You don't say that about people. And literally the moment we got out the restroom, I literally was able to go home, and I told my sister what happened, and it was just so scary because, mind you, he's in here talking to me about it, but his friends are out. It played out so scary because literally we're in the restroom talking, and as we're talking about me being trans, I hear his friends banging on the door telling him to come out because they have to go. So it's like, no, I'm not. Like, that's ridiculous. Why would she say that? I'm not. And as soon as they left, it was, I have to go. Like, I have to go. Like, I don't know. Like, I have to go. So I left. I got home. And by the time I got home, I told my sister what happened. And my sister is the biggest advocate for me. And she was like, oh, no. She talked to her friend. She let her know, like, you cannot say that. If it's getting to the point where my sister is going to have relations or anything like that, she knows better to tell the person that she's trans before she gets into any situation like that. So the fact that you took that privilege away from her was straight wrong.
Yeah.
You don't know what. She was all like,
do not, yeah.
She was
you
all,
just do not out people. Like,
exactly.
The thing is it always comes from a place of jealousy, because baby, it has happened to me many a time where I am out with a group of cis girls and we are hanging and partying and having fun, and then some guy hits on me and he doesn't hit on anybody else, and so one of them pipes up, did you know she's trans?
Yeah.
So your jealousy has sent you to the point to where you're going to put my life in danger. You are willing to put my life in danger simply because you feel inadequate that someone is paying attention to me. You think, what's between my legs? It's that denial of womanhood, and I don't think it's necessarily, they are being consciously vicious. I don't think it's conscious. I think it's very much unconscious, and I think that they have always had it in their mind that I am not what I say I am.
But don't you also think that what that might also come out of is everyone's intense need to just gossip about people?
I don't think it has anything to do with gossiping, because
don't you know that woman you were talking to isn't really a woman?
But see, there's a difference, because yes, it happens. People love to gossip and people love to spread your business. But there's a difference between someone gossiping and someone intentionally telling someone that is interested in you that you are trans just to turn them away. Because in their mind this entire time, you were not a woman. You were not a man. Your identity as a binary person who is cis assumed is not real. And so to them, in that moment, they are going through this mindset of, why is he hitting on her when she's not even a girl?
Right, but see, I'm also
trying to make it fun.
And I totally get that. And I hear where you're coming from in regard to that and how it's this unbiased, unconscious jealousy because it's like, hey, look, you should be paying attention to me because she's not really a girl.
And I feel like it happens a lot with cisgender women. Like, it's so scary because it's like, especially growing up, it's like you have these two cisgender friends, and then it's you, the trans girl. These two cisgender women can bond on certain things, even though it's crazy. They can bond on periods. They can bond on stuff like that. Like, girl, I can't believe I just got mine. Girl, same. Like, they can talk about stuff like that. I can't talk to them about hormones. Like, they won't. I always say this. You won't understand what someone else's point of view is because you're not them. Like, I don't expect any cisgender person to understand what I go through and what it takes to be me, because they will never be in my spot. They will never understand how it is to be scared that someone's going to find out who or what you are and hurt you. And I feel like when you go out and drinks are involved and stuff like that, and your friends play it off like, yeah, I wouldn't talk to her, like, didn't, like, they see it as, girl, we were just playing. No, that just playing could have took my entire life.
Well,
Oh,
and
I just want you to know, just in case she doesn't say it, that she's trans, because I feel like you need to know. And then you get into this conversation, they're like, I was just being I'm just being honest, and I'm just trying to be upfront with people. Like, I've had that conversation. I've had that situation, and it took everything in me not to drag her out of the club. Like, I wanted to box, because I was like, your superiority, because this is what you're telling me. This is what you're telling me, babe, that you think you know better than I do. You think that you're going to do something better than I can. You think that my morality is lower than yours, and I'm not going to get into why you think I'm this person, because we're supposed to be friends. But you felt that way about me so much that you're willing to put my life in danger, because you're not friends with a trans person and completely oblivious to that danger.
Yeah, and Alana, I just want you to know I'm kind of muting you when we are talking because there's some feedback happening since you don't have a headset on. So that if you're hearing me mute or seeing me mute you, it's for that reason, because it's echoing. So so I kind of want to bring it back to the film, because the screening is this weekend, and I just want to kind of like hopefully help people understand what it is that we want them to get out of the film. And so if someone were to say to you, Alana, why should I watch your film? Do you know like what the top 2 reasons might be, or top 2 things that you would tell someone to compel them to care enough to watch?
I would definitely say my go-to one is very much, it's going to change your opinion about trans women. I just want to educate people. I just want to let them know that, yes, we are different. And yes, we may not walk the same, talk the same, but we still deserve to live, and we still deserve our rights, whether you like it or not. And because you think I don't, I'm going to show you certain aspects of my life that I have to go through on the daily to hopefully get you to understand that my life isn't, oh yeah, I'm gonna put my hair up in a ponytail today. It's not cupcakes and rainbows. Like, I actually have a lot that I have to go through on a daily basis that certain people don't have to, because of who I am. And I'm really excited to show not only my story, but other trans women's story, because it's like, yeah, I can kind of show you how I move and what I do on the daily. I take my pill at this time and I do it at the, but it's so amazing when you get to see different stories and you get to learn and be educated on so many different stories that came from so many different walk of lives. And that's the only goal that I want, is to educate people and to let them know that, yes, we are trans women, and yes, we are different, but we will not be going nowhere, and we're here to stay.
Yeah, I heard that. Boom. We give you a round of applause on that one. Tell them, speak the truth. Well, listen, it is 9:58. We got 2 minutes left. So I'm going to go for a speed round. And what I want is I would love for you, Alana, and you, Avalisa. I'm going to remove myself from the scene. And I want the two of you for the next couple minutes, even if we go a little over. But I want the two of you to talk to one another about just the past 3 days of your life and what you've had to experience in the past 3 days of your life as though no one else is watching. Can you do that for me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm going to take myself out of here and I'm just going to let the two of you have this conversation. Okay. And
Okay. What?
Okay. Period. So just a quick little recap. I worked most of the weekend, but also just laid the fuck out because I found out that my ex died. And that's super weird because I'm not with him. I don't want to be with him. I did not see myself with him in the foreseeable future because I am married. However, having somebody that you loved die, super weird. So I have been trying to bounce back out of that emotionally. I have been talking with my therapist because come on therapy. And I have been trying not to slide into the hellhole that is dysphoria because she's around the corner 24/7 waiting and watching.
Listen, I totally understand. I feel like these past couple of days, like my dysphoria has been literally kicking my, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, especially because I perform, that's an extremely different light for my dysphoria to show up as well.
Babe, I know.
It's so scary because it's like, I just started performing without pads, so I've been using my natural body, but with that comes a lot. Girl, you better make sure those legs are shaved. You better make sure that tuck is right. You better make sure your boobs are pushed up. It's so much that I did not know I had to experience. So I'm going through that, and I'm learning that along the way. I'm also sewing a lot because of my fashion show coming up in November. I've just been working and trying to get the film and everything for this project off and completely done. Other than that, I've been just trying to work on my mental health because that's all especially with I cry a lot. That's the kind of, I like to say that's the kind of trans girl I am. Like, girl, I love to cry. Like, I don't know why. I will cry about literally anything. So I'm just mentally preparing myself to see me on that screen and seeing everyone listen to me and my story and not completely tearing up about it.
Yeah, I cried a lot for a hot minute. I was just very open. I mean, like that punch of estrogen, I was like everything. And then like I went through like a 5-year period where life was just ridiculously unfair. I lost like 5 friends to overdose, 3 to suicide, and 1 or 2 to like a really crazy accident. And existing with that and having my emotions heightened, like the first couple of times it took me out. I couldn't do anything. And I turned my emotions off and I started dissociating. And now I have to work through that in therapy because if I feel like my emotions are going to get the best of me, I'd be like, this is what's happening. This is what I'm experiencing, but I'm not going to feel it because I will lose it and I may not be able to pick it back up. But yeah, I get that. Miss Dysphoria, when I was performing, it was a mixed bag because when I was on stage and I was serving you body and I was serving you illusion, like my whole gig was like unrealistic goddess type tease. I gave you that can I go say hi to her? Am I allowed to talk to her? Or is she gonna cuss me out? Am I allowed to do that? And so like that's what I gave. I did a performance in glitter and a tuck.
Listen,
That's it.
I
And while
love
it felt
that stuff.
amazing being out there and just being on stage and nothing but glitter and watching people's jaws hit the floor, I felt my tape slip. And babe,
And the ones that I don't like is when you don't know that they slipped. Like, girl, like October 7th, I had a show. I was kicks, splits, working, I go back and look at the video and I'm like, my tuck slipped. I can't post this video. And everyone in the
yeah.
audience sees my parts. Great. So it's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's very scary because it's one of those things where it's like, girl, you gotta check because it may feel secure and next thing you know, whoops, it's out the side, girl, and
Yep.
you never know. It's one of those
Oh,
things where it's
I
like,
did a full performance, like rolling around and all of that other stuff, and went back and looked at like pictures that my friends took, and it was just like bubble gum out the side. And I was like, delete it, delete it from the internet. But like,
exactly.
it's this thing where when you're in the moment, it feels so empowering and it feels so euphoric as far as, you know, your gender expression and actually having people like see you exactly as you want them to see you in this hyper fantasized way. But like when I'm sitting in the tub and I have to leave in 30 minutes and I'm shaving my entire body naked and like I'm making sure that I got the tape, I'm making sure that I got the tucking materials, and I get to the club and I don't have the tucking materials. Like there's so much involved with that that can right in the face. Just knock
I will say, girl, it's nothing like your face is completely beat. You're ready to go. Everything is snatched. You're good. You get to the gig, you look in your thing and you're like, I don't have a tucking thong and I don't have tape. Your mood is completely ruined because you can't. It's one of those things where it's like you can't turn it off. Like it's like I can't surf what I want to today because girl, it's gonna be a meaty tuck because I can't do the things that I need to do without the stuff that I don't have, and it's so scary. I will say, especially um, when you don't know that it's gonna happen, which you never do. I will say the very first time I completely went on stage, it was at Dawes House a couple months ago. I was like, we're not wearing pads. This whole number is a burlesque number. It's supposed to be like, this is who I am, you know, my trans truthness. And I took that bra off. And when I tell you, I walked down that stage in a underwear piece, of pasties, and a cute little net. I've never felt more alive in my life because the fact that people are cheering, and that's my natural body. That's me as a trans woman of color. And the fact that my entire life, my entire existence, I was told, you need a pad, you can't be this, you gotta be lighter, you gotta do all this. Finally, to be able to be on that stage and hear people scream and shout is the most rewarding thing ever, especially whenever it's about something that you were grown to hate about yourself for so long.
For me, it was like this feeling of not of completion, but like of reaching a certain place in my journey. It was a Christmas show. I had a big white fur coat, and it was my first time doing it. It was my first time pulling a pussy stunt. And I walked on stage and I did like the first, you know, minute of the routine in the coat. And then I took it off and I had like Christmas ribbons, like the ones with the wire on the side. But that was it. And had a bow at my cat. And like the freedom of being on stage and like being celebrated, like in that moment, it was like me stripped down, very curated, but me stripped down in a way that I just couldn't wrap my head around. Like it was just so overwhelming to experience that. And then I actually went into doing burlesque next to a bunch of cis girls. And let me tell you, being in a G-string and pasties every night next to girls that are cis, babe, that's pressure. That's dysphoria every night.
Like a good cisgender woman who got her together to make you feel like, listen, performing, spending time, whatever. Every time I go out, whether it's to perform or not, and I am with a cisgender friend, it's always scary, especially I'll take that back. My sister. We're gonna say my sister because this is the perfect instance that needs to be said. So every time I go out with my sister, it's like a dysphoria thing because my sister is, to me, the perfect woman. Like, my sister got this perfect body. She's not too tall, not too short. Her hair is long. She doesn't have acne. Her face is real. It's always like, so I
gotta stand next to you. What they think about me?
Girl, and then you start to look at those little spots. Like, even if your tuck isn't slipping, you're gonna pull it back a little bit because, girl, one thing about it, that is gonna be snatched. Oh, your eyelashes may not be.
You go in the bathroom and you do that squat.
Yep. Listen, there's those things that you do to enhance even just the tiniest bit. Like, I have the smallest waist, but to make sure that that curve on my hip stands out, sometimes if I'm in a dress or a jumpsuit, I will wear an extra small corset. So even though it's a little curve, she's still gonna give you a curve because we've been grown for so long to be told that that's what a woman is supposed to look like. And no matter what we can say 1,000 times that we're jumping out of that mindset, it's never gonna change. Dysmorphia.
Yeah, and I feel so bad, and I have trouble talking to people about certain things because she's rough right now. The skin is not giving what it usually gives, but but you know, I fit into traditional beauty standards. I am the hourglass. My waist is tiny. My hips are full. My ass is full. My titties is full. Like, I fit into traditional beauty standards. And yes, I did things to fit in further with getting my body done. But at the same time, like, I look like this because I want to look like this. I look like this because I saw Tyra Banks walking down the runway and she looks like this. I look like this because I saw a picture of Nicole Scherzinger on the beach and she looked like this. That's what I wanted to look like, not because that was, you know, the accepted beauty standard, but because when I saw that, I was like, that's my body. That's my body right there. And so I do have a lot of trouble when it comes to talking to people about, you know, living outside of the beauty standard and not existing within the beauty standard, because I fully support it 100%. I just happen to be smack dab in the middle of it. And there's no pressure from anybody else to look the way that I look, you know, outside of, you know, the cis assuming things. Like, for me, I am always going to make sure that said beard is covered when I go out in these streets because, babe, she's not trying to die. But like, I never felt the need to like put on a full face of makeup, put on a waist cincher, put on 6-inch heels for anybody else. Anytime I did that, that was because I wanted to do that. That's how I wanted to look bad.
And I would say for mine has been a little bit different.
Oh, girl,
I was gonna do. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have that. Girl, my hips are to be this. My hips are growing into my mature level and allowing myself.
Like, I don't know what's going on, but your audio is a little funky there, Alana.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there just seems to be like some feedback issues and some other weird sound things going on.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's just there's weird like humming and stuff happening, and a lot of that feedback has to do with the fact that you're not wearing a headset, which is totally fine. Don't worry about it. You know, it's not a big deal. I just popped back on because it's like 10:13. I mean, I can sit and listen to the two of you talk all night long, but I don't want to keep you from other things that you need to maybe be doing tonight. And Alana, I just really, thank you so much. Thank you for putting together this documentary. I am really thrilled and excited and looking forward to sitting and listening to the folks that you interviewed. A couple of them I know pretty well, and so I'm excited to hear their perspective. And I think you're right. I think it's really important for us, and especially for cis folks, to tune in and be paying attention when we're talking, which is why I gave the two of you the stage, because, Black trans women are among the highest uh, who are losing their lives annually. It's Black trans women and trans women of color. And, I'm not going to center my voice in that, but I am going to advocate for y'all because I love you. And when when Avalisa says she sees herself in these women, like every time I hear about another person who's been taken, I think about you all and the people that I love. I mean, Avalisa is like my BFF, and I would be just heartbroken. And I know a whole lot of other people would feel the same. So, just thank you so much. And like I said, it's 10:15. Is there anything else that you want to add just as a closeout, Alana? Maybe a last pitch for folks to come, maybe a little teaser from the film. Now we can't hear you at
Damn,
all.
damn. We can't hear you. Come on.
Come closer to your computer or to your phone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just not going to be able to see me. Okay, listen, it's fine. All I want to say is pretty much make sure that you come out Saturday. I'm really excited to be able to showcase mine and others' stories. I'm just really blessed to be given this opportunity to be able to share and educate as much as I can.
Right on. Well, we love you, and Michelle, one of our consistent viewers, is here. Says thank you for tonight's education. I always learn something that may help my child in the future. I appreciate you allowing me in your space to learn. So, Michelle, thank you so much for tuning in. And Riley, are you still here? I'm asking because I have 2 tickets for this Saturday, and I would love to think of a number and have Alana and Avalisa see if they can guess what that number is. And whoever's closer gets to pick the person that they're going to give I'll assign a number. I'm going to assign a couple of numbers to these folks and have you all just pick a number, and then I'll tell you who's going to win. Okay. Ready?
I'm into that. Between what and what?
Let's say between 1 and 10.
10.
So,
Shoot for the sky.
shoot for the sky. I love it. Lisa.
9.
Which automatically makes you closer. I was going to do that little wheel, spin the wheel thing, but I don't know if putting 2 people on the wheel would actually work. Oh,
Alana? What's your next number?
Okay, that's not what I want.
Eli, was it 4?
The number that I had in mind was actually 5.
I was about to say 3. I don't know. First you go high, which was my 9, then you go low, and then you start bouncing around.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. I was going to see if I could edit this. I've got to mute Alana. I was going to see if I can edit this real quick down to, what the heck? Why can't you just, oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. We're going to put 2 names on the wheel.
Spin that wheel.
Yeah, if I can get this to freaking work over here, like, come on, why don't you let me?
I don't know why, but I
this?
heard "Who's that Pokemon" when I said that.
Who's that Pokemon?
Who's that Pokemon?
Okay, so we're down to, there we go. We've got 2 names, and I'm going to add text. Okay, okay. Why are we, how come I can't edit these? Okay, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to share the screen. I got to move us over here. This will be funny. So Riley's going to have a dance party, and Michelle's going to be watch TV on demand, because I can't get this darn thing to okay, share screen. I'm going to share this screen.
I'm
and
into a dance party.
Okay. And so I'm going to spin the wheel here, and y'all can see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, Riley is, oh, wait a minute. There's more. There's more. There's too many colors in there. I was trying to figure out how to edit this darn thing so that I could only have 2. There we go.
Right there.
Watch Netflix.
And then click it and type their name.
Okay. There we go. Okay, Riley, and then we'll put Michelle. I do have to check one other thing just really super quick, because I did open this up to folks that follow the not public page on Speaking of Happy, just to see if anybody, nope, nobody responded to that post. So this is the deal. All right, so I'm going to spin the wheel. Are you ready?
Spin that wheel.
And Michelle, congratulations, Michelle. You are the winner of 2 tickets and dinner for this coming Saturday. I have not picked out yet the place where you will be eating, where you will get to get some food. I haven't picked that out yet. But Michelle, I will message you just in case you're not here and you've left. But I will let you know that you are the winner of the tickets. And thank you so much for tuning in and just, being an all around awesome person. Oh, Michelle, yay. I never win anything. Well, you won tonight. We drew you tonight. The Zoom wheel drew you tonight. So it was meant to be. Congratulations. Again, Alana, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Like I said, I am super excited to see the film this weekend and to talk to the women who partook in it, who are going to be there. And we're going to have a panel discussion immediately following the movie. So it's going to be awesome. And is there going to be any entertainment happening? I know somebody had asked me, is there going to be any performances?
Stay tuned. There might be a couple cute little
Okay. I mean, not that it has to. That does not have to happen.
Due to the date change, majority of my family will not be able to be there that day. They're in the film, but they won't be, because when we changed the date, people went and got booked. So when we changed the date to October 22nd, some people were like, "Oh, I'm taking October off," or vacation.
Oh, we lost you again.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
That's how you fix it. I think it's picking up the background noise, but if we want to fix it, all we have to do is say something and then it pushes our feedback through the mic. Resets it.
But yeah, so some of the girls were like booked.
Yeah, and she says that, and now your audio is just not even. I'm just gonna mute you. I don't know what's going on over there, but your audio is kind of set. It said, "Look,
From
we
what
are
I
at
got
out."
is from what I got is the girls were going to be there. The girls were going to show up. The girls were going to show out. However, with the date change, that interfered with a lot of the girls
Yes.
in the day off. And when it changed to days that girls had already booked up. So there
Yep.
may be some entertainment. Stay tuned. Keep a little sneaky
Mhm.
peek.
Mhm.
But nothing is confirmed as of right now.
Well, I hope there's going to be a couple of folks available for a little bit of a talk back after the film. We'll just put it that way. But anyway, again, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and then tuned out and then tuned back in again. Michelle, congratulations. I'll be in touch with you on how to to secure your prize and then figure out what you're going to do for Saturday night. Hope you'll be able to make it to the screening. All right, y'all. That's it. We're saying good night.